Hello, welcome to a brand new video. Stoicism is a school of Hellenistic philosophy that developed in ancient Greece and Rome. For the Stoics, the only good worth striving for is virtue, which they define as living in agreement with nature. But what does it mean to be living in agreement with nature? For the Stoics, there is no metaphysics in the sense of a world beyond matter, such that everything is material. Even our souls and God, or Zeus according to them, is composed of a passive matter, of a refined fire. Yet there is an active, intelligent principle that orders the universe. The active principle that orders is known as the Logos, or it's also known as a universal principle of reason, and it's also called the Pneuma. And it's intelligent, and it's identified with God, and it permeates everything. The whole of everything is in sympathy with itself and extends throughout materially. Therefore, if reason is identified with God and it permeates through everything in nature, then nature itself is perfect and ordered deterministically, and it must be appreciated. The universe is one creature made from a single substance and the soul, and therefore everything is interconnected in like the web of life. And this kind of reminds me of the panentheism seen in the works of Spinoza. Because humans are rational, we participate in this cosmic reason, and therefore to live in harmony with nature, then, is to live rationally and in accordance with the order of the universe. From this cosmology arises the dichotomy of control, and this is perhaps the most recognizable Stoic teaching. There are things in our power and things beyond it. Within our power is conception, choice, desire, aversion, or in short, our judgments and actions, while beyond our power is the body, possessions, reputation, positions of authority, and things that are all external. What is not within our power is neither truly good nor bad. It's indifferent, and that doesn't mean we should be cold or unfeeling, as Stoics allow for pity and empathy, but we shouldn't let the sufferings of others consume us to the point of destroying our own rational composure. We have duties towards our fellow humans, but we shouldn't create needless misery by attaching ourselves to outside things that we can't control. The question is whether we focus on what lies within our power, cultivating it, or whether we scatter our attention by chasing externals, and to value our time is to give ourselves to what truly is in our hands. To live in agreement with nature is to pursue virtue, which is nothing other than knowledge of things as they truly are. To be good is a kind of knowledge that is a right to act justly, courageously, and with self-restraint. Stoics reduced all virtues to four cardinal ones. There's justice, wisdom, courage, and temperance. Every other virtue is contained within them. Possessing these virtues makes one self-sufficient, for true happiness only depends on them. If happiness relies on external goods such as wealth, reputation, and health, for example, then we're enslaved to them, and fortune, exile, and death would rob us of contentment. But if happiness lies within virtue, then nothing external can harm us. Some indifferents are naturally preferable, such as wealth, health, education, and reputation, because they typically assist in a virtuous life, but these are called preferred indifference, and they're not good in themselves. Stoics constantly remembered the immediacy of death. They can take over anyone at any time. Therefore, to devote oneself to anything other than virtue is ultimately wasteful. As the Stoic Epictetus said, that wealth consists of not having great possessions, but in having few wants. Much of human suffering arises from our attitudes, not from the event themselves. If someone curses you, as the Stoics say, it truly does nothing unless you judge it to be hurtful. Therefore, pain, misfortune, and insult are only interpreted by our minds and not by intrinsic harms. Stoicism doesn't teach the repression of emotions. Rather, it encourages reflection and mastery of them, so things like fear and grief and pleasure and anger even may be rational when kept in measure, but it can become destructive when it consumes us. So when someone wrongs you, to retaliate against them is harming yourself. Instead, recognize that others act from ignorance and respond rationally and kindly so they become more like you. Paradoxically, the Stoics affirmed determinism, or that every event follows necessarily from cause and effect, and this is woven by the Logos mentioned earlier, and all human choices are part of this causal web, but on the other hand, they also affirmed moral responsibility. Their solution was a form of compatibilism. Chrysippus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, illustrated this with the image of a cylinder and a sphere. If you push a cylinder, it rolls on a straight line, but if you push a sphere, it rolls in any direction and easily. And each thing acts according to its own nature. A cylinder shouldn't complain that it's not a sphere, and similarly, while our actions are cause, they also flow from a rational nature, so it remains up to us. Lastly, perhaps another strength of Stoicism is its clarity. Unlike the labyrinthine readings and writings of Kant or Hegel, one doesn't need a PhD to understand Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, or Epictetus's Enchiridion, or Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, and probably this explains its lasting appeal today. It's a philosophy suitable for the layman. And that brings us to the end of this video. Stoicism calls us to discipline our judgments, to accept joy and pain when it comes, and overall, to cultivate virtue, and by doing so, we live in harmony with nature. And if you have any questions about Stoicism, please leave it in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe as always.